Hey everybody, welcome to KXAN Plus and our high school football preview show, playoff edition, week 2 of the Texas high school playoffs. It is the area round for classes 6A, 5A, all the way down to 2A, and then the 1A kids, they're a round ahead of us. But we're going to talk about 6A and 5A here mainly today. 2 games on our air, both on KBVO this week. Thursday, which is when we're taping this. So tonight, Vandegrift and San Antonio Brandeis play down at UFCU Stadium, home of the Texas State Bobcats. And on Friday, we have Frisco Lone Star versus Georgetown, both the teams at 7 p.m. on KBVO. Here to chat about them is the guy who's going to call tonight's game and Friday's game too, right? Roger, you're going to be at both of them?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Right.
We're hoping for some good luck with the weather tonight down in San Marcos for our Vandegrift and Brandeis game.
Yeah, the weather forecast kind of hit or miss when it comes to storms coming to the area, so we'll see if they can get that game in. Hopefully they can. Obviously, Vandegrift wants to keep the momentum going from that tremendous 16-14 win over Westlake in the bi-district round. Just a crazy bi-district matchup, Roger. You don't really think, a defending state champ in Vandegrift versus the perennial power in Westlake meeting in the first round, but man, what a game that was.
Amazing. All the different plays that Vandegrift had to make, a goal line stand up by 1, and then they still have to give the ball back. Westlake punts it, and then they get the game-winning drive. They get a big pass play to kind of get them set up on a breezy night. It was a really breezy night, and they got a big hit over the middle, Miles Tiadecki to Ontario Jackman, and that set up. And how about Wiley Olson, the kicker, headed to SMU? Just ice water running through his veins, about a 36-yarder to walk it off. And, I mean, when you say split the uprights, he literally split the uprights. And Westlake goes down and Vandegrift moves on. Vandegrift's been battling injuries all season. They seem to be getting healthier, including their quarterback, Tiadecki. So they should be a little closer to full strength tonight when they take on Brandeis.
Yeah, we'll go to our full screen here. Vandegrift 9-2, San Antonio Brandeis 8-3. There at 7 p.m. at UFCU Stadium in San Marcos. Last week, as we said, Vandegrift beats Westlake on a walk-off field goal by Wiley Olson, 16-14. Which coincidentally, Roger, the last time Westlake got beat in a bi-district game was, I believe, 2014 against Round Rock. That score, 16-14.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't expect to knock them out. Of course, you don't expect that kind of matchup.
Right.
In the first round of the playoffs. That's because of the chaos in 25 6A, which sent Vandegrift into, that part of it, and then the Dripping Springs win over Westlake sent Westlake as the 2 seed. Vandegrift got the top seed in D1, and so they square off. And somebody that played for a state title was going to be knocked out in the first round.
And Brandeis last week, they beat San Antonio Sotomayor 35-32. And some other matchups we're watching tonight. Wimberley and Robstown played down in Beeville. But, Roger, let's just stay with Vandegrift and Brandeis here for a second. You mentioned Tiadecki, the quarterback for the Vipers. He's getting healthy. He kind of seems to be the straw that stirs the drink, if you will.
No doubt. He's committed to Kansas State, had a monster junior year leading them to the state title, but he's been battling a shoulder, and he's played through the shoulder injury as well. So it's getting better, but certainly there are some limitations. They've been out without one of their top receivers who's coming back, Gavin Custer. But the defense has really paved the way, and no better example than a goal line stand. This was after they went for it on 4th down out of desperation against Westlake deep in their own territory.
Yeah.
And then they hold Westlake. Westlake elects to go for the touchdown and get the 8-point lead as opposed to kicking a field goal and making it 4. So it's been the defense that's led the way for this Vandegrift team, and I think Brandeis can have a tough time tonight. They've got a really good dual-threat quarterback, but I'm not sure if they've seen a defense like Vandegrift.
No, I mean, not a ton of schools have. That seems to be a theme around Central Texas is that, we've had some high-flying offenses here in the past. Obviously, Dripping Springs comes to mind this year, high-octane offense. LBJ has always got a team that's going to score. But there are a lot of schools in the Central Texas area this season, Roger, that have kind of hung their hat on the defensive side.
Yeah, look no further than the undefeated Lake Travis Cavaliers, and their defense is what they're about. They've been fighting some injuries on offense as well. They've got those bookend defensive ends, Carter Buck and Ben Duncombe, both P4 commits, Kentucky and also TCU. But, yeah, there's been, it's amazing how things tend to kind of go in cycles, and it used to be spread them out, throw the ball every time. Running backs are making kind of a comeback, and now the defense is dictating a lot of these ball games.
Speaking of defense, just real quick numbers for the Vipers from their game against Westlake. 3 guys in double-digit tackles for the Vipers. Sophomore Colt Stevens, he had 14, 6 solo tackles for him. Thomas Foote, 7 solo tackles, 8 assisted for 15 tackles. And then Griffin Gorbeek, 13 tackles. That's for 3 dudes to get that many tackles. They're all over the field.
Yeah, and Drew Sanders is an old defensive coach, and we love to talk about the offense, and they've certainly had some great offensive players come through that program. But I think they're hanging their hat. If they're going to make another long run, it will be on the defense. And then Teodecki gets healthier. They get some more of their offensive skill players back, and they're going to be a tough out. When we looked at this team earlier, think about that opening night loss to Drip, 41-14.
Right.
But playing the best, and then we've talked about it, the way this sets up for Region 4, it sets up pretty favorably to the Austin area teams. You get by this round, and there's a good chance we could see a Vandegrift Dripping Springs quarterfinal game.
Yeah. We've said it all along, all season, really. Like, if you can get past this area round with the San Antonio schools, you get down to playing the teams in the RGV, the Rio Grande Valley, that just aren't quite as good as these San Antonio teams are traditionally. So we'll see if that plays out. That'll be 7 p.m. tonight on KBVO, Channel 14. If you use a streaming service, just search for it on whatever streaming service you use. You should be able to find it. That'll be down at San Marcos at UFCU Stadium, home of the Texas State Bobcats. Friday. Oh, and it should also go that we can't do any of these games on KXAN.com, KXAN Plus. There's some agreements the UIL has with NFHS and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, bottom line is these are on air only, and they won't be replayed on KXAN Plus. Sorry about that. Not our decision. So Friday, the game that we have on KBVO, it's going to be Frisco Lone Star coming down to play Georgetown. Frisco Lone Star undefeated 11-0. That kind of raises your eyebrows a little bit, huh? They played Georgetown 9-2 there at Birkelbach Field in Georgetown. Lone Star 49-6 winners over North Mesquite in the bi-district round. And then Georgetown took out Burleson Centennial 41-11. And Roger, all I can think about is Georgetown and Burleson are playing in a bi-district game?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Just like Cedar Park had to play Tyler.
Right, yeah.
Tyler had to make that long drive, about a 4-hour drive. And then sometimes it's about being able to get the coin flip. And that's what Chuck Griffin and Georgetown did. So even though Lone Star undefeated, ranked I think 2 or 3 in the state, but they're having to come to Georgetown. That's a Lone Star team that's had one close game. They had a 2-point game in their final regular season game against Reedy, and other than that, they've run the table. They've got a sophomore quarterback. He's a dual threat. He's so good that their quarterback from last year is now playing wide receiver, and he's going to be a handful for Georgetown. Of course, Georgetown's got a really good running game. Jet Walker, by the way, he's got an offer now from Texas, so a lot of discussion about that. Okay. He's going to be at UT. Their offensive tackle, Caden Shearer, who's a Stanford commit, he's also going to be visiting UT this weekend. So a couple of Eagles making a late push in the recruiting trail. But, yeah, Georgetown is going to be a handful, but they have a really explosive offense. So I think that boils down to, can they get enough stops? And obviously that was the problem against Cedar Park in their regular season finale.
Talk about the rushing game for the Eagles. 5.9 yards a carry against Burleson Centennial in the big win. In total, they rushed for 194 on 33 carries, 3 touchdowns. Jet Walker, the aforementioned Texas offer, he had 2 of them. Pretty pedestrian day for him, 9 carries, 36 yards, but they spread it around. Weston Stewart, 11 carries for 58 to lead the way. Zach Guyton there at 48 yards for 7 carries. So they're spreading the ball around, unlike last year where Walker was getting 25, 30 packs a game.
And I think they're hoping that will pay off Friday night, and if they can get by moving forward, a little less tread on the tire. But also, Guyton's very explosive back, so they like his skill set as well. Obviously, you're keying on Jet Walker. But it'll be an interesting matchup Friday night to see if Georgetown can hang with Lone Star.
Yeah, we'll go back to our full screen here to get you some other matchups on Friday. Dripping Springs plays San Antonio Harlan. We talk about all the San Antonio schools, where here's 3 of them. Lake Travis plays San Antonio Brennan. That's a kind of a been a common opponent for the Central Texas 6A teams here in the past few years. Brennan always a power out of that north side district there in San Antonio. And then Hutto takes on San Antonio Johnson. Roger, any one of these three games kind of get you going a little bit? I think that Lake Travis game ought to be pretty good.
Well, sure, yeah. That game against Brennan should be good. Hutto and Johnson's undefeated. So if you're looking for that San Antonio school that might be the one to emerge, it might be Johnson. They've got to deal with a high-powered offense in Hutto. And then, as we mentioned, also Lake Travis taking on Brennan. And I think Lake Travis will take care of business down at Seguin. We've seen Lake Travis come up against a lot of really good San Antonio teams up to the game against Lake Travis.
Sure.
And then Lake Travis has kind of shown that there is a pretty big gap in talent. Anderson got that win. If we're looking ahead at some other games, they play Barbers Hill.
That's a Saturday game.
On Saturday, yeah. So, Caleb Crenshaw got the AISD rushing record. They got a wild win over Friendswood last Saturday afternoon. Bastrop moves on. There's a potential collision course with Bastrop and Liberty Hill in the playoffs. LBJ also advancing. So this is interesting, Billy, because you always talk about if you're practicing on Thanksgiving, you've had a pretty good season, and that's the next step if they can get by this weekend.
Yep, regional semifinals will be next week, but you got to get by the area games first. Full slate of games in Central Texas tonight, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Got a lot of schools from around here playing on Saturday, taking advantage of that Saturday.
Well, yeah, it's a few things. It's stadiums,
officials,
and then also down the line, you want to match up with the day of the state championship game.
Sure.
Now, you're still a ways away from that. Vandegrift, they opted to go Friday, Thursday, and that means if they win, probably they go back to Friday. They certainly won't play Thursday, but probably go back to Friday or Saturday. So then they get a little extra preparation on the other side of it.
Some other area games other area teams playing on Friday. I've got Weiss and Lufkin. They're playing over in the Conroe area, I believe. And I had another one in here. Where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, Cedar Park and Frisco Wakeland are playing. So a lot of action.
How about Weiss going down to take on the 4 seed against LaPorte? And it looked like for a while, we can see LaPorte is the 1 seed. They were a big. Weiss made a crazy comeback and won that ball game to advance. They've got some talented players that, Trey Moore is getting so much attention on the recruiting path. And so that's quite a story with the Weiss Wolves.
Yeah. You look at that district that Weiss comes out of with Anderson and with the 2 College Station schools there in 5A1. All of them won their by-district games.
And Conley.
And Conley as well, yeah. Like that doesn't happen a lot. Like all your district teams go on and win their first round. That's pretty good.
It's pretty cool that these kids move on and they get to keep practicing and kind of experience this side of it after the 11-week regular season where they played 10 ball games, and now it's a different feel.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to get Roger out here so we can just be sitting that gridlock traffic on I-35 to go to San Marcos tonight to bring y'all the Vandegrift San Antonio Brandeis area round playoff game in 6A Division II. That's at 7 p.m. on KBVO channel 14. And if you just leave the channel on KBVO for a whole 24 hours, just leave it on. You'll be able to see Frisco Lone Star and Georgetown play also at 7 p.m. on Friday night. So we'll bring those games to you this week. And that'll do it for this episode of the Central Texas High School Football Preview. For Roger Wallace, I'm Billy Gates, and we'll talk to you again very soon.